I'm at the 2017 ASH Congress, and we've just heard the results of the longer term follow-up, the comparison of maintenance versus no maintenance in the BRIGHT study from Brad Carl, the presenting investigator. Now, leading up to this analysis, there have been some concerns about the potential increased toxicity, particularly infectious complications long term, when giving maintenance rituximab after induction chemotherapy with bendamustine and rituximab for patients with high tumour burden follicular lymphoma. And these concerns came out of the gallium study. So, leading up to this analysis, we have to go back a bit to look at the BRIGHT study itself, where there were approximately 280 odd patients who were randomised to either rituximab CHOP or CVP or rituximab and bendamustine. And the BRIGHT study met its primary endpoint and demonstrated a non-inferior complete response rate of 31% compared to 25% or thereabouts in the patients receiving R-CHOP or CVP. And it also showed a significantly prolonged progression-free survival in patients receiving bendamustine with a significant hazard ratio of 0.6, and there was no difference in overall survival. So what this analysis here at ASH this time was looking at the role of rituximab maintenance. Now, approximately 60% of the patients in each arm did receive rituximab maintenance. I think it was about 80 odd patients compared to about 60 patients in each arm who didn't receive rituximab maintenance. The key issue here was that there was investigator choice as to who went to receive rituximab maintenance. So there definitely was an element of selection bias rather than it being a randomisation to maintenance or no maintenance. And we also have to be a bit careful because the actual numbers in each group are getting quite small now. So with the R-CHOP arm, there was no significant advantage to rituximab maintenance in terms of duration of response, because by this time, 5 years after having started the BRIGHT study, we weren't doing regular 6-monthly CT scans to assess progression-free survival. But as we know from the PRIMA study, there clearly is an advantage in progression-free survival from rituximab maintenance in the CHOP patients, and I believe this just reflects the small study numbers. What it did show, though, was a significantly prolonged duration of response in the patients receiving rituximab maintenance after bendamustine, with a hazard ratio of 0.5, and this was a significant advantage in duration of response. The problem with the BRIGHT study is we haven't been collecting long-term toxicities, and we cannot balance this duration of response advantage with a picture of the increased infection rate that we do feel is occurring in patients after bendamustine who then go on to receive rituximab maintenance. And the concerns we have about that arise from the gallium study, but also in the still maintained study that was presented in the same session that showed almost 3% risk of death from fatal infection, 3% incidence of fatal infections in patients receiving rituximab maintenance after bendamustine rituximab, whether that be maintenance given for 2 or for 4 years. So that signal of infectious toxicity with rituximab maintenance after bendamustine doesn't quite make me inclined to adopt rituximab maintenance in my practice after rituximab bendamustine induction for high tumour burden follicular lymphoma.